The Canadian EV sales for the third quarter of 2017 are finally in, and we broke down that analysis into the Fast 5. That's just the 5 big numbers that you need to know about quarterly EV sales in Canada. Your first number is 56%. That's the Canadian national year-over-year sales growth. Canadian EV sales for the first 9 months of the year are up 56%. In contrast, 2016 sales at the Q3 mark were about 8,000. In 2017, that number is 12,470. Your second number is 96%. 96% is the Ontario provincial year-over-year sales growth. Ontario EV sales for the first 9 months of the year are up 96%. Ontario has historically lagged behind Quebec despite having a strong sales incentive. Your next number is 41,695. That's the total number of electric vehicles in Canada. We surpassed the 40,000 benchmark sometime in the third quarter of 2017. Canada crossed the 20,000 mark in early 2016, so just over a year and that number has doubled. Going from a big number to a small one, 1%. That's the number of EVs as a fraction of overall vehicle sales in September. EV sales in September were about 2,171. The first time monthly sales have topped 2,000. Your next number is 41. That's the number of EV models currently on Canadian roads. 41 is comprised of 26 plug-in hybrids and 15 all-electric battery EVs. Overall, Canada continues to see EV sales grow and set new records each and every quarter. Staying true to the trend of 2017, EV sales have continued to climb through the months of July, August, and September. Plug-in EV sales are comprised of battery electric vehicles and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. The total number of plug-in EVs sold in Canada in the third quarter is 4,756. This represents a 38.62% increase over the same quarter in 2016. Looking at a breakdown of battery electric vehicles and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, we can see the change in consumer preference over time. BEV sales in Q3 2017 totaled 2,590, an increase of 9.2% over the previous quarter, while plug-in hybrids performed slightly worse, 2,166 sold in the quarter. This represents a slight decrease of 4.17%. As we project these numbers into the future, we can see that the momentum of battery electric EV sales will continue to outperform and outpace plug-in hybrid sales. The provincial breakdown. A provincial breakdown of EV sales in the Canadian market reveals which provinces are maintaining momentum towards EV adoption goals. Quebec sales in the third quarter of 2017 total 1,806. While Ontario EV sales saw 1,872 new vehicles on the road. BC, despite selling less overall EVs, saw the highest rate of EV adoption growth in the quarter. 927 new EVs hit the road in BC. The consistency of EV growth in each province over time has changed. While Quebec has consistently led the country for overall EV adoption, a recent trend from the first quarter of 2016 illustrates the results of recent efforts in Ontario to increase the rate of EV adoption. The trajectory of growth for EV adoption in Ontario now outpaces Quebec. Let's look at the bigger picture for Canadian EV sales. BEV and hybrid have seen different rates of growth in Canada for the past 3 months. The monthly fluctuation of BEV and PHEV sales in Canada illustrates the difference of market preference over time. September of 2017 represents a record high for both BEV and PHEV sales. A total number of 1,289 BEVs were sold in September, beating a previous high of 969 in June of 2017. PHEV sales also reached a record high in September of 882 vehicles. The plug-in electric vehicle market is definitely not slowing down. Let's take a look at electric vehicle sales in comparison with overall vehicle sales for the major provincial markets. The third quarter of 2017 saw battery electrics and hybrid electric sales total a national average of 0.8% of all cumulative vehicle sales. That's an increase from 0.7% in the previous quarter. On a provincial level, EV sales in BC have reached 1.5% of the total vehicle market. That's an increase again from 1.2%. And Quebec has reached an average of 1.4% of market share, up from 1.2% in the previous quarter. While Ontario, as a percent basis, lags behind, up from 0.7 to 0.8 in Q3. A monthly breakdown of EV sales in the previous 5 years illustrates the growth of the EV market. From a nearly flat sales trend in 2013, total sales and the rate of growth in the market has increased each and every year. Our latest data up to September of 2017 marks a high point for the overall market. If this year were to follow a similar trend as 2016, we could expect yet another monthly record being set in October. Let's look at those numbers on an annual basis. Just 3/4 of the way through the year, EV sales numbers for battery electrics and hybrid electrics have surpassed totals for all of 2016. BEV sales totaled 6,629 at the end of September, an increase of 29.2% over 2016 totals. Over the same timeline, hybrids have also surpassed previous year totals, now at 5,841. That's on par with totals from all of 2016. And with 3 more months left in the year, those records, of course, are expected to be smashed again. Back down to the provincial level, the top 3 provinces for EV adoption will each, of course, blow past the previous year totals. Based on current rates of growth, year-end 2017 will see Ontario EV adoption growth rates increase the most. An estimated 6,497 more electric vehicles are projected to be on Ontario roads by the end of 2017. Let's look at Q3 Canadian EV sales highlights. We've set a new milestone. Over 40,000 plug-in EVs are now on Canadian roads. BEV sales have outpaced hybrid sales for the previous 3 of 4 quarters. The national market share of EV sales is nearly 1% of the total market on a 3-month trailing average, and exceeded 1% in September. September of 2017 marks the highest month for EV sales, with 2,171 new EVs sold. The province of Ontario, for the second quarter in a row, sold the most EVs and is catching up to Quebec and British Columbia on a percent of total vehicle sales basis.